I guess being Labor Day, you all are happy to be working, right? Me too. Well, after looking at the film of the USC game, obviously we didn't get off to the kind of start that we wanted to get off to in the game. I think the first quarter was a little shaky on both sides of the ball, but as the game went on, we kind of settled into the game. The players responded and competed, played through some adversity. We need to play with a lot better consistency, but we made some big plays. We made some explosive plays on offense. The defense was pretty consistent throughout the game, and I thought did a pretty good job of stopping the run and being able to play a lot of coverages that allowed us to minimize their explosive plays with some very good skill guys. So obviously the lessons to be learned is, we want to be more ready to play, get off to a fast start. Start fast and finish strong is something that we talk about, and obviously being able to play with a little bit more discipline and consistency will, help us become a better team. And I think that's the objective is, when you start playing games, people don't realize this. I don't care what position you play, what team you play on, what unit you play on. People really study what you do. They study your strengths, they study your weaknesses, and they do things to take away what you can do. And you have to be able to improve through that as a player, whether it's individually or collectively as a unit, so that you can continue to have success and not getting taken advantage of. The best example I can give is one of my own. I was one of these outstanding high school baseball hitters. All right, and when I went to college, I thought I would be an outstanding college hitter. And because they never did a book when I was in high school, they never know what pitches I couldn't hit. And when they started doing the book in college and figured out that low outside slider, I'd hit it like a weak ground ball to second base. Then the next thing you know, if you don't learn to hit that pitch, that's all you see. That's all you see. I'm talking about the kind you don't even want to run to first base on. So you have to improve as a player. You have to analyze and understand and know what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are and work on overcoming those things individually and collectively as a team. And that's something that we obviously need to do as a team right now. The team we're playing this week, Western Kentucky, I think most people probably don't even know that they were a top 25 team, finished ranked 24th in the country last year with 12-2 record, and actually, won a bowl game and won their conference. And they have a lot of starters back on that team, like 9 on offense. Even though they lost the quarterback, they have a transfer quarterback who started at another Division I school. So they've got really good skill guys. These guys play with a lot of toughness and a lot of energy. They've got a lot of confidence. They score a lot of points on offense. They've got one of the most prolific passing attacks that we're going to see, and some very good players to implement it. And they play really tough, physical, defensive football. So this is a good team, and I know that I'm preaching to the choir here when it comes to what you guys create and what you think, but it is what it is. And we had 2 teams in our league that actually lost to teams that were nowhere near this good, nowhere near what they accomplished a year ago, nowhere near the number of players coming back, and a third team that had to win in overtime. So, these are not things that we can take at all for granted. We need to get ready to play this game as if we're playing a really good football team, because we are.
Okay, we'll start left side with Cecil.
Coach, I'm going to ask one about the game and one not about the game. First about the game. One of your main themes in the preseason was quarterbacks taking the bull by the horns. Did you see any of that in Saturday's game? Is that closer to being reality?
Well, I thought that both guys were a little shaky in the beginning in terms of how they played, and I think that The longer they played in the game, the better they played. That goes for both guys. And, you know, we're going to still think that we need to play two quarterbacks to try to gain the experience and knowledge and consistency that we need to see. We may do it a little different way than we did it last week, but I think we'll probably still play two guys in the game. But Jalen did a nice job in some of the things that he did, turned the ball over a couple times, and, you know, when Blake went back in the game, he actually played with a lot more confidence and a lot more poise. But so I think we need to continue to develop both of those players. I think it was encouraging that both players played better as they played in the game, which should be expected of freshmen, and hopefully we'll see big improvement in them this week.
And then away from the game, there have been several reports that Steve Sarkisian is going to come here to talk to you about a possibility of having an opportunity with the team. What can you tell us about that?
Well, we talked about it really quite a while ago, and you know, I told him that we'd love to have him as a part of the organization. You know, he's going through some personal things himself to get himself in a very positive position, and wants to continue to do those things in the future. And professionally, he loves coaching, and so we thought it would be a good thing for our organization to have somebody. Look, I've known him for a long time, and he's a very, very good coach. So to make a contribution to being an analyst here and having some input and some things that we can do better, I think would be a real positive for our organization. And we're going to continue to help him in his program as an organization, and we'll support him, and he has an opportunity. But you know, I think he understands the consequences that he deals with professionally if he has any issues or problems. So we're glad to have him a part of the organization, and hopefully he'll be able to get back on his feet professionally, and this will be beneficial to him.
Back over here on the right with Mark.
Yeah, just a quick injury update. You had Cam Sims and Dalvin Tomlinson go down in the game. What's the latest on those guys?
Dalvin went back and played in the game. Cam has got a bruised shoulder. He'll probably miss a few days and could be questionable for this game, just depending on how he responds throughout the week. But I think everybody else will be okay.
Okay, we'll go back to this side in the middle with Michael.
About the running back rotation with Damian starting, I guess, how's Bo doing? Is he fully healthy?
Yeah, he's healthy, and you know, Damian did a nice job in camp. He did a nice job in spring. Had a good spring game. You know, so we thought he was the guy that would be the most productive at the position. We have a lot of faith, trust, and confidence in Bo, and we're hopeful that Bo will continue to improve and respond, because we would like to be able to play two backs, and those two guys have the most experience. We have two young guys that both played in a game that we hope continue to develop as well.
Back over here to Aaron.
After watching the film, just wonder what you thought of the offensive line. And you mentioned after the game Shank. How can he maybe help in that regard?
Well, Shank's been a starter around here at right guard. He's got to kind of earn his way back, and that may take some time. But I think that our two tackles played really pretty well in the game. I think that the inside three, we need to continue to improve and work. You know, there was a little inconsistency there in hand placement, steps, playing with power on a consistent basis. So, but there were also some very encouraging things that these guys did. So, but I think if you want an analysis, that would be probably now Shank coming back at right guard where he played before. You know, he's a powerful guy. He's a big guy. That might be helpful to us, but you know, sort of he's got to play his way back into it, and he's got to beat somebody out now.
Middle, Chris Walsh.
You mentioned the two quarterbacks, something a little different here at Alabama, but obviously you did that at LSU. Could you talk a little bit about those years and what did you learn and how in dealing with having two quarterbacks then?
Well, you know, you all don't need to be reading more into this than what there is. Do you understand we're doing this for now? Okay, so that means that's how it is today. So, you know, we act like now we're going to have 2 quarterbacks for the whole season and there's not any competition, or I don't understand the question. I think that if we're going to have 2 young quarterbacks, both of them need to gain experience so they can play in the future. How we go about doing that is a plan that I think is very, very important to both guys and to our team. So we're going to try to do that the best we can. Look, the body language on the sidelines from the players involved at the position was very good. Both guys were very supportive of the other guy, paid attention, and I think that's very critical. That, you know, it sort of always amazes me to some degree, that players that aren't getting what they want, whether it's the amount of playing time or whatever it is, ever think that pouting is going to help them get what they want. That is one of those things that's just beyond my comprehension. That in competitive sports, I always thought you needed to do everything you could do to endear yourself to the coach so that he wanted to play you. But I didn't see any of that from any of these quarterbacks, so they're kind of all in and supportive. And I think that comes from respect that they have for each other and the trust that they have, you know, that if they do the right things, they'll get an opportunity.
Up front with Ken.
Wanted to ask you about Sean Dion Hamilton, where he's probably made the most progress since last season, and how did he play Saturday night?
Sean played well. Last year, you know, Sean Dion played in regular for us as an inside backer, and Ruben and Reggie played in nickel. We were trying to work the same kind of combination with Rashawn Evans, you know, this year, so we would have 3 guys sort of playing the inside linebacker positions, but Rashawn missed almost a week of practice right before the game. So he missed a lot of reps, you know, for this game when we started Southern Cal Prep. So Sean Dion and Ruben ended up playing, you know, most of the game, although Rashawn Evans got to play, you know, a little at the end, still not probably 100%. So hopefully we'll be able to work through that, and both guys will get an opportunity, you know, this week. But he's very knowledgeable, always plays smart in the right place, does the right things, and very, very dependable, very dependable.
Up front here with Dwayne.
Coach, excuse me, sir. Coach, you started off saying that you might do it a little different order with Hurts and Barnett. So are you starting Hurts against Western Kentucky?
Well, I said I might do it a little different. So what does that mean? I might do it a little bit different. So I didn't make a decision or a statement about who I was starting.
That's why I said you said you might do it a little different order. So I'm asking, are you going to start Hurts if it's a little different order?
Well, I guess I might. If I said I might do it in a different order, that means I might do it in a different order. All right, so that's what it means. I think that's what might means. Does anybody have a dictionary on them?
Joe. We'll go in the back with Joe.
Hey, Coach. When you have an opener that played out like it just did this past weekend, you have a lot of young guys making significant and positive contributions. At this point in the season, how much are you leaning on the upperclassmen to help temper things for those younger guys after the fact?
Well, we have a lot of other younger guys that need to make a lot more of a contribution for us to have the depth on this team that we need to sustain the season. I think the leadership on the team is very, very important to get young guys to understand how you need to prepare on a consistent basis and how you need to practice and develop the right habits. And I think it's very, very important. Now, do you all make it any easier when you sort of make it like, since we won one game, this is like a big deal? look, you are what you are based on what you do in total. And no team can be evaluated until they play on a consistent basis for a 12-game season and show that they have the resiliency, the ability to overcome adversity, the competitive spirit that you need to be able to sustain against some really, really good teams. Look, we play in a pit bull environment around here. All right, this is a pit bull league that we play in. All right, and we got to show that we can, get in the ring with the pit bulls. All right, which I'm not sure we've shown that yet. So, we need to keep working on that. That's the young guys too. They don't understand that.
Middle with Alex.
Two questions, Nick. You said after the game there was a special plan for Jalen. Do you have any expectation to maybe expand that plan this week?
Yeah, I would think that would be the goal. I think it would be the goal for both guys. I think if we're gonna have the kind of team that we need to have, the quarterbacks are going to have to do more so that we can utilize the other players on our offensive team that have capabilities of making plays, and that will be the goal that we have, no doubt.
And then just wanted to get an update. Raekwon and Tony, have you heard anything more from the NCAA?
No update. I'll be glad to tell you when I do, though. I mean, it's not really a secret.
Last one here with Mark.
Just looking back to the last game, we saw Eddie Jackson and Ronnie Harrison get into it a little bit on the sideline, and you got in the middle of those guys. What did you say to those guys, and how did they sort of work that out?
Well, look, I wish we had a rule in college football where we have a rule that our players can't talk to the other players on the field. And there was a lot of trash talking going on from the other side, which that's okay. That's their choice. They can do whatever they want. I'm not being critical about that. Well, Ronnie let it emotionally get to him that these other guys were talking. So he said something. Eddie told him, he said, hey, man, this is not what we do. We don't talk to the other team. And then Ronnie got all upset that, not necessarily at Eddie, but he was just emotionally upset about the trash talking and about Eddie saying something to him. And, these two guys have a lot of respect for each other. They're really good friends. But I think the lesson to be learned here is when you have a teammate who's caring about you and trying to help you, the response should be thank you, not screw you. That's basically the lessons that can be learned, from the guys. And I think sometimes when players get emotional, that's very difficult to do. Ronnie Harrison's a fine young man, has totally out of character for him. And, I think, he's apologized for it and he's very sorry for it. And I don't think it'll ever be an issue again.
Thanks, Coach.